The amphitheater of the Galactic Council fell silent as Ambassador Avery walked to the central platform. His footsteps echoed against the crystalline walls, each step measured and deliberate. Around him, representatives from 47 species watched with eyes that ranged from curious to contemptuous. Humans were the newest members of the Council, barely a century into their membership, and still considered primitives by most. Councillor Dexvalen, a towering insectoid from the dominion of Kraish, clicked his mandibles in what passed for amusement among his kind. The human wishes to address the Council. How quaint. Avery ignored the comment. His expression remained neutral, but those who knew humans well enough, and there were few, might have recognized the dangerous calm in his green eyes. Beside the observation deck, Captain Marlowe stood with her arms crossed, her military uniform crisp despite the 3-week journey to Council space. She watched Avery with the intensity of a predator. "Honored Council," Avery began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustic enhancement systems. 6 standard months ago, the colony world of New Adelaide was attacked. 300,000 human civilians were killed in the initial bombardment. Another 100,000 died in the weeks that followed. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. The attack on New Adelaide had been discussed, certainly, but always in abstract terms. The Council dealt with billions of beings across thousands of worlds. Individual tragedies, while regrettable, were merely statistics in the grand calculus of galactic politics. The Zetherian collective claimed responsibility, Avery continued. They stated that humanity's expansion into the Outer Rim violated their ancestral claims. They demanded we withdraw from 17 colony worlds and pay tribute for our transgression. Councillor Yap, a graceful being of pure energy contained within a magnetic field, pulsed with what translated as skepticism. Ambassador Avery, the Council has reviewed this matter. The Zetherian claim has historical merit. Your species arrived in that sector only 40 years ago. The Zetherians have occupied neighboring systems for 3 millennia. Surely a diplomatic solution. We offered diplomacy. Avery interrupted, his voice hardening. We offered compensation. We offered to submit to Council arbitration. The Zetherians responded by destroying the civilian transport Hope's Dawn. 2,000 colonists, mostly children, being evacuated. The chamber grew quieter, even among species that viewed humans as aggressive newcomers. The targeting of offspring was considered distasteful. Dexvalen shifted his bulk. And what is your point, human? You come before us, seeking what? Sympathy, permission to respond. The Council does not authorize military action, except in cases of "we're not asking for permission," Marlowe said, her voice cutting through the chamber like a blade. She stepped forward to join Avery, and several council members recoiled slightly. Humans always seemed more dangerous in pairs. Something about the way they communicated without speaking. Avery gestured to the holographic display at the center of the chamber. 4 days ago, the human expeditionary fleet entered Zetherian space. We're here to inform the Council of our actions, as required by treaty. Not to seek approval. The display activated, showing tactical data that made several councillors gasp in their various ways. 73 human warships, more than anyone had known humanity possessed. Battle footage showed Zetherian defense platforms being systematically destroyed, their supposedly impenetrable shields failing against human weaponry. This is outrageous. Dexvalen's mandibles clattered in agitation. The Council explicitly forbids retaliatory warfare. There are procedures, sanctions, diplomatic channels. Your procedures take decades, Marlowe said flatly. Your sanctions are economic theater. Your diplomatic channels favor whoever has deeper pockets or older claims. She looked around the chamber with undisguised disdain. We read your histories. We know how this works. The Zitharians would pay a fine. They'd apologize. And in 50 years, they'd do it again to someone weaker. You cannot simply declare war on a council member species. Yala pulsed with alarm. The ramifications were not declaring war, Avery said quietly. War would imply an ongoing conflict. What we've initiated is considerably more final. The holographic display shifted, showing real-time data from Zitharian space. Their primary shipyards destroyed. Their capital world's orbital defense grid offline. Their political command structure scattered to 8 different bunker worlds, each now surrounded by human vessels. We calculated that it would take the Council approximately 8 months to reach a consensus on appropriate action regarding New Adelaide. Avery continued. His tone conversational, almost friendly. We decided that was too long to wait. So we've resolved the matter ourselves. Councillor Praxis, a crystalline being who served as the Council's chief arbiter, chimed with what translated as confusion. Resolved. You've attacked a civilization with 3,000 years of military tradition. Their fleet alone numbers in the thousands. Numbered, Marlowe corrected. Past tense. The Zitharian fleet engaged our forces at the Krolix Nebula. That engagement lasted for hours. They lost 92% of their ships. The survivors are currently being offered terms of surrender. The chamber erupted into chaos. Representatives shouted in hundreds of languages, their translation devices struggling to keep pace. Dex Phelan stood to his full 3-meter height, mandibles spreading in a threat display. This is madness. Humans, you are barely a century into space. The Zitharians have conquered a dozen species. Their technology is older than dirt, Marlowe said with a cold smile. Which is the problem. They've been so dominant for so long that they forgot how to innovate. They forgot that sometimes the newcomer doesn't play by the old rules. Avery raised his hand, and surprisingly, the chamber fell silent. There was something in his gesture, an authority that transcended his species' junior status. The Council operates on principles of patience and consensus, he said. Those are admirable qualities. But there's something you need to understand about humans. We tried patience. We tried following your rules. And our children died while you debated procedure. He looked around the chamber, meeting eyes and optical sensors with each species in turn. We're not asking you to approve of our methods. We're informing you that humanity operates under a different principle. You harm ours, you answer to us. Not in months, not in years, immediately, decisively, permanently. Marlowe pulled up a final image on the display. The Zitharian collective's ruling council, seated in a human detention facility, awaiting trial under human law. They'll receive fair treatment, Marlowe said. More fair than they showed our colonists. But they will answer for what they've done. That's not savage. That's justice. The silence that followed was absolute. Finally, Councillor Yala pulsed softly. And what do you expect from us? Condemnation? Sanctions against humanity? Avery smiled then, and it wasn't a pleasant expression. We expect you to remember this day. The day you learned that humans don't make threats. We make promises, and we always keep them.